Have you ever stopped to think that some objects we keep at home might be saying more about us than we imagine? That pile of old magazines, a corner overflowing with clothes that no longer fit, or even that expired medicine forgotten in the cabinet. They might seem harmless, but what if I told you that these items in certain quantities could be signs of something deeper? Prepare for a sincere reflection on what we keep and what we truly need. In this video, we're going to unveil the 7 most common items that, when excessively accumulated, can indicate hoarding behavior, especially in old age. Stay with us until the end to discover if you or someone you know fits this profile and how to deal with it. And before we begin, please give us a like to help us out. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next content, and tell us in the comments, which item do you find hardest to let go of? Your opinion is very important to us. Chapter 1: Expired or unused medications. It's surprising how many expired or unused medications we find in many homes, especially in the residences of older adults. This accumulation can be dangerous, as expired medications lose their effectiveness and can even become toxic, posing a real risk to the health of those who consume them. The habit of keeping every package, just in case, ends up creating a truly unnecessary and potentially harmful pharmaceutical stock. The idea that it might be useful one day often prevents the proper disposal of these items, transforming the medicine cabinet into a museum of old boxes and bottles. This attitude, though well-intentioned, neglects the importance of keeping only what is truly necessary and safe for immediate use. It's crucial to regularly review what's stored, checking the expiration date, and the actual need for each item. Many older adults keep medications from previous treatments, even after recovery or a change in medical prescription due to attachment or forgetfulness. This practice not only takes up valuable space, but can also cause confusion and, in extreme cases, lead to the ingestion of inappropriate medications, putting lives at risk. Organization and conscious disposal are crucial attitudes for safety. The difficulty in getting rid of these medications can be linked to a feeling of security, as if having a pharmacy at home were a way to always be prepared for any eventuality. However, this false sense of security hides the inherent dangers of prolonged storage of chemical substances that can degrade and lose their therapeutic properties. Precaution must be accompanied by responsibility. Properly disposing of expired or unused medications is essential and should be done in appropriate places, such as pharmacies that have collection programs, never in regular trash or down the toilet. Awareness of the risks and the practice of letting go are the first steps towards a safer home environment free from unnecessary accumulations, protecting both individual health and the environment. Chapter 2: Spoiled or expired food. One of the most obvious signs of accumulation, which poses direct health risks, is the presence of spoiled or expired food stored in the pantry, refrigerator, or cabinets. It's common to find open packages, moldy products, or rusty cans that should have been discarded long ago. This practice not only takes up space, but can also attract pests and contaminate other healthy foods. The reluctance to throw away food, often justified by concern about waste, can lead to dangerous accumulation. However, consuming expired or deteriorated products is much more harmful than discarding them. This attitude can result in severe food poisoning, with symptoms ranging from headaches and nausea to severe gastrointestinal problems requiring hospitalization. Many older adults keep empty packages or minimal quantities of food just to have. This "you never know when you'll need it" mentality ends up creating a scenario where storage takes precedence over hygiene and food safety. It's essential to adopt the habit of regularly checking expiration dates and the condition of food to avoid unnecessary risks. The difficulty in getting rid of food, even if it's unfit for consumption, can be linked to memories of scarcity or an emotional attachment to the products. For these people, throwing food away can seem like an unforgivable act of waste, even when it's something that no longer has any use. Understanding this motivation is the first step in helping to change behavior. Organizing the kitchen and pantry with the regular elimination of expired or deteriorated items is crucial for maintaining a healthy environment. Furthermore, planning purchases more consciously, avoiding excess, can prevent future accumulation and waste. Keeping only what is essential and fit for consumption ensures the food safety of the entire household. Chapter 3: Old and Torn Clothes. The accumulation of old and torn clothes is a common habit that often goes unnoticed but can take up significant space in closets and drawers. Items that no longer fit are damaged, stained, or completely out of style are kept with the hope of being reused someday, which rarely happens. This excessive retention makes organization difficult and prevents seeing the clothes that are actually worn. Often, emotional attachment to clothes, linked to memories of past moments, makes it difficult to let go. That shirt worn on a special occasion or that dress that was a hit years ago can be kept as tangible souvenirs, even if they no longer have practical use. However, keeping an excessive volume of these items can turn personal space into a dusty memory warehouse. The justification that old clothes can be used for staying at home or for activities that might damage good clothes also contributes to accumulation. However, this category of informal wear often expands uncontrollably, resulting in a large number of worn-out items that are never actually used. It's important to set a reasonable limit for these items. The difficulty in getting rid of clothes can be related to insecurity about the future, such as the fear of needing that item in some unexpected situation. This anxiety about what might happen leads to keeping items that, in practice, only take up space and create disorganization. Assessing the real probability of future use can help in the letting go process. Conscious disposal of old and torn clothes, either through donation to charities or textile recycling, is a more sustainable alternative than simply keeping them accumulated. Freeing up closet space and getting rid of what no longer serves a purpose can bring a sense of lightness and well-being, as well as allowing other people to benefit from items still in good condition. Wardrobe organization contributes to a more practical routine and a more pleasant environment. Chapter 4: Excessive old newspapers and magazines. The excessive accumulation of old newspapers and magazines is one of the most classic items associated with hoarding behavior. Piles upon piles of these printed materials, often already yellowed and dusty, take over tables, chairs, and even the floor, transforming the environment into a paper labyrinth. The content has already become obsolete, and the information is easily found in other media. The justification for keeping these materials varies from the desire to reread an interesting article to the belief that one day it might be worth something, especially in the case of historical editions. However, the reality is that the vast majority of these periodicals will never be consulted again, and their material value is practically nil, except in rare cases of very specific collections. This accumulation of paper not only consumes valuable space, but can also be a health problem. Old newspapers and magazines accumulate dust mites, and can even attract insects, which is especially harmful to people with allergies or respiratory problems. The disorganization generated also makes cleaning the environment difficult, perpetuating the cycle of dirt and clutter. The difficulty in getting rid of newspapers and magazines can be linked to a feeling of control over information or a fear of losing something important that might be printed. This anxiety prevents letting go, even when the information is available online or no longer has practical relevance. Overcoming this mental barrier is fundamental to freeing up space. The best way to deal with this type of accumulation is to create the habit of recycling these materials regularly. Setting aside a space for newspapers and magazines that will be read on the day or week and discarding the rest immediately after reading is a simple and effective practice. Opting for digital news and content can also significantly reduce the volume of paper accumulated at home, contributing to a more organized and healthy environment. Chapter 5. Broken objects that won't be repaired. One of the most frustrating and unproductive accumulations is that of broken objects that won't be repaired, but are stubbornly kept for one day. The wobbly chair leg, the radio that no longer turns on, the burnt toaster, or the cracked vase. These items accumulate in corners, cabinets, and garages, occupying vital space and serving only as reminders of unfinished tasks. The hope that someday there will be time, money, or skill to fix them is an illusion that perpetuates accumulation. Most of the time, the cost of repair exceeds the value of the object, or the necessary part is impossible to find. Keeping these items is, in fact, an obstacle to organization and a source of visual stress in the environment. This type of accumulation can also be linked to a feeling of guilt for having damaged the object or for not wanting to admit that it reached the end of its useful life. For some people, throwing away a broken item seems like a waste, even if it no longer has any functionality. This difficulty in accepting the end of a cycle contributes to disorder. Keeping broken objects not only takes up space, but can also be dangerous, especially if they are items with sharp edges, broken glass, or exposed electronic components. They become sources of possible domestic accidents, especially in homes with children or people with reduced mobility, adding unnecessary risk to the environment. The solution to this problem is simple, but requires a change in mindset. If something is broken and you don't have a concrete plan to fix it in the next few weeks, or if the cost/benefit doesn't make it worthwhile, discard it. Consider the possibility of recycling materials if possible, or simply throw it away. Freeing up this space brings a sense of relief and allows the environment to be filled with things that actually work and are useful. Chapter 6. Expired or dried out cleaning products. It's common to find a variety of expired or dried out cleaning products in many pantries and utility areas that for some reason haven't been discarded yet. From old sponges and dried out soaps to packages of disinfectants with expired validity dates, these items take up space and, in most cases, have already lost their effectiveness, becoming useless for their intended purpose. The idea of keeping so as not to waste is one of the main reasons for keeping these products. However, an expired cleaning product may not only be ineffective in removing dirt and germs, but also in some cases may undergo chemical changes that make it dangerous to health or to the surfaces to be cleaned. The economy of not discarding something useless is a false economy. Many older adults accumulate these products due to an old habit of stocking up or out of forgetfulness that they already have similar items. This repetition of purchases and subsequent accumulation creates a cycle of disorganization and waste as new products join old ones, increasing the number of items without functional use. The accumulation of cleaning products can also be related to a feeling of being prepared for any situation, as if having a wide variety of options guaranteed that the house would always be impeccable. However, the reality is that a large stock of inactive or expired products only contributes to clutter and makes it difficult to find what actually works. The best practice is to periodically review your stock of cleaning products, discarding those that are expired, dried out, or that you know you won't use anymore. Keep only the essentials and organize products by category to facilitate use and avoid unnecessary purchases. An organized cleaning cabinet not only optimizes time, but also ensures that you will have the right products to keep your home truly clean and safe. Chapter 7. Old documents with no legal value. The accumulation of old documents with no legal value is a subtle problem that can create a lot of clutter and, in some cases, even security risks. Papers like electricity and water bills from decades past, old bank statements from closed accounts, manuals for appliances that no longer exist, or receipts for purchases made long ago occupy entire drawers and boxes. The justification for keeping these papers usually lies in the fear of needing them in the future or the difficulty in determining what can actually be discarded. However, most of these documents have a legal or fiscal validity period, after which they become mere old papers that only serve to accumulate dust and disorganize the environment. This excessive accumulation not only consumes valuable space in cabinets and files, but can also make it difficult to locate important and current documents, causing stress and wasting time. Imagine looking for a recent bill among piles of invoices from 15 years ago. The task becomes a nightmare. The difficulty in getting rid of documents can be linked to an excessive concern with bureaucracy or an attachment to papers that represent phases of life. For some people, the act of throwing away a document is like erasing a part of history, even if that part no longer has any practical or legal relevance. Document organization requires a system. Separate what is essential, identity documents, property titles, wills, current medical records, and discard the rest after checking the legal or fiscal retention period. Consider digitizing important documents to reduce physical volume, and use paper shredders to dispose of personal information, ensuring your security. Keeping only what is necessary and organized brings clarity and peace of mind. Conclusion: we've reached the end of our journey through the 7 items that, when excessively accumulated, can indicate hoarding behavior. We've realized that behind each object, there's a story, an attachment, or even a fear. But it's important to remember that an organized and clutter-free environment isn't just about aesthetics. It's about well-being, security, and practicality in daily life. Letting go of what no longer serves a purpose frees up space for the new, for lightness, and for a life with fewer worries. We hope this video has been an invitation to reflection, and that it inspires you to take the first steps towards a more functional and welcoming home. Small actions make a big difference. If this content resonated with you, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel to keep following our tips. And to continue the conversation, tell us in the comments, which of these 7 items will you start organizing in your home? We'd love to hear about your experience.